Okie dokie, artichokes. So this is my presentation on my article, Affiliative, Ethnic Identity, a more elastic link between ethnic ancestry and culture. So I've already pre-written my main points on my little whiteboard, and I'm just going to go over the article like I would do in class. So first of all, what is affiliative ethnic identity? Identity is rooted in knowledge, regular consumption, and deployment of an ethnic culture that is unconnected to an individual's ethnic ancestry. So affiliative ethnic identity means that you identify ethnically with a certain identity, even though you don't have any ancestral or historical relation. So first off, that was what the article started with, was just a definition. One example it gave was Wiggers. So these are basically white individuals trying to pass off in black culture. So maybe a good example would be Eminem, as rap music and culture such as that is more toward the black demographic, whereas Eminem has come in as a white rapper, which is generally looked down upon, but he's embraced the culture and now is accepted in the rapping and hip-hop community because he has an affiliative ethnic identity with the black culture associated with rap and hip-hop. Okay, so now ethnicity does have three related components. So the first is ancestry. So this is a belief in a common descent. So ethnically, you say your family is from Britain. So part of your ethnic identity is based on the fact that all of your family is from Britain. So ancestry, culture. The symbols and practices around ethnicity that monitor group belonging. So that would be, say once again, you're from Britain, so your culture is to drink tea or eat potatoes and bangers or something like that. So a culturally appropriate way of behaving. And then finally, history. Collective events that form a narrative that group insiders tell about shared or inherited past. So something like that could be British history, so the fact that they have a monarch. So the British ethnic identity is that we are all from Europe, we're all British, we all are from that area. Culture, we drink tea with every meal. History, we all identify our past with a monarch, and we still have that. So those are the three components of ethnicity. So now people who practice affiliative ethnic identity, there are four things that the author identifies that people do. So they don't just claim to enact, they don't just claim the identity, they enact them through culture, knowledge, consumption, and this forms the foundation of affiliative ethnic identity. So they enact it. So they don't just say, I'm somebody who was born in Scotland, but I ethnically identify with somebody from Britain. So I have tea all the time. I identify with the fact that there's a monarch and I respect that, and just the cultural practices, I enact them and I believe in them. I don't just claim to be British. I actually act and believe in those things. I don't make claim to the ancestry or history of the group. So I do not pretend that I am British. I am Scottish, and I recognize I'm Scottish. I don't pretend that I'm British, but that doesn't mean I still can't identify with the ethnic culture. So that is claims to ancestry. So I don't claim ancestry. The in-group. So what generally happens is that there is an in-group, out-group association. So one way for an affiliative ethnic identity to be real is that yourself or others affiliate you with a specific ethnic group. So that could be you being seen as a semi-English person, or you're an honorary Brit. So you're not actually, once again, biologically descended from there, but you can be honorary Brit, so you're everything but the biological sort of thing. And finally, integrated to individual identity. So affiliative ethnic identity is an integral part of an individual identity. So if you have an affiliative ethnic identity, that is part of who you are and part of your identity. So it's integral to you, and it's not just a little part, it's part of who you are. That's what makes it an affiliative ethnic identity. So some of these 4 things here, affiliative ethnic identity can be misinterpreted as. So it can be interpreted as assimilation, which it is not, obviously, as this is the not column in orange. So it's not assimilation, which means you're not introduced into a culture and you're doing it because it's the prominent culture and you're kind of absorbing the ethnicity or the culture because you have no choice or because it's some sort of political or government agenda. Symbolic identity. So a nostalgic allegiance to the culture of the immigrant generation. So what this is say your parents are from Ukraine. You ethnically identify as Ukrainian, not because necessarily you feel connected to the culture, connected to the ethnicity, but more because it's part of your parents' tradition, it's part of your past, and so you are identifying with that ethnically because of your history, not necessarily because that's what you want. Passing. So passing was used a lot with the one drop rule with blacks and whites in America. So you would pass as white and you would provide culture and ethnic properties of a white person. Once again, not because you really want to or because you believe in it. It's once again you're just passing more for your own physical safety and things like that, but not because you actively want to. And finally, it is not ethnic hybridity. Ethnic hybridity just means a mixture of different ethnic cultures to create something new. You see a lot of this with immigrant or intermarriage families where you can combine, say, Ukrainian culture and Irish culture and you put them together and you create something new. That's not what affiliative ethnic identity is. So those are the 4 things it can be seen as, but it is not. So once again, we're just going to say that affiliative ethnic identity is not ascribed. So you choose it and then you also announce it. You are showcasing this is the identity that you identify with. This is the ethnic identity that you have chosen, not because it's been ascribed, not because you have to for safety, but you truly believe and you identify with this ethnic identity. So then this list in pink is how affiliative ethnic identity has really come about, especially in the United States. So supply of ethnic culture through, say, firms or corporations. So it's kind of becoming trendy to showcase different cultures. So take, for example, curry, which is generally an Indian spice. Lots of Indian dishes use curry. Curry is trendy, or like dishes with like a coconut curry or something like that. Very popular. So firms and corporations attaching to that and then showcasing it exposes people to new ethnic aspects of ethnic food, which are aspects obviously of culture, which can lead to saying I actually identify as Indian and have an affiliative ethnic identity. Education, so offering or requiring ethnic or racial classes for degree completion. So this actually verifies the importance of different ethnicities and different ethnic groups and really gives real knowledge on them, which is also beneficial and once again can introduce you to a certain culture which you would want to later explore, and once again could result in affiliative ethnic identities. Ethnically themed clubs, this is the same thing. You could have in our college, you could say have a Mediterranean group or a Dominican Republic club. And so anybody who's ethnically identifies as Dominican or Mediterranean can join this club. And even those who maybe want to just experience what that ethnicity is like, they can join, and then that can create, once again, affiliative ethnic identity. Media, pop culture, once again, exposes to different ethnicities and identities. Demographic changes, so immigrants, there's a larger influx of immigration, which means there's a higher exposure to different things. Sorry about that. Part of residence glory. I get to deal with all the fun things involving in residence. Anyways, back to my presentation. Demographic immigrants, you're exposed to different ethnicities and cultures, which could allow you once again for an affiliative ethnic identity. Intermarriage, once again with immigrants, people from very different cultures and ethnic backgrounds can marry, which can result in a lot of sharing of different ethnic identities or completely taking one ethnic identity as your own. Okay, and then finally, inexpensive travel. So with inexpensive travel and ways to get around the globe, you can immerse yourself into the different ethnic cultures and identities, and maybe once again adopt one and have once again affiliative ethnic identity. Maybe you decide to visit Australia and really like it there, and you end up moving to Australia because you really like it, and you adopt the ethnic identity of an Australian. So basically that's what the article talked about. So what consists of ethnic identity, what affiliative ethnic identity is, what it is not, and then ways that it has really blossomed or come about. Generally, I think the article is just saying that ethnic identity does not have to be based on ancestry or history or even culture necessarily, like growing up in it. Ethnic identity, in a sense, can be created or can come about as long as you actually believe full-heartedly in the culture and you believe in that identity, which is a larger aspect of your own individual identity. And that's why it's affiliative ethnic identity, is that you're affiliating your identity with another ethnic group, but that doesn't make it any less important or valuable. So that's what I have for this. Hopefully I got all the points. If not, sorry. Hope you enjoyed it, and you'll get another one in a couple minutes.